Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs and welcome back to another League of Ireland European show. And this is a very good European show, to be fair, because Shamrock Rovers and St. Patrick's Athletic managed to make it through to the next phase of their respective competitions. St. Patrick's Athletic in the Conference League, they're through to the playoff where they play Istanbul. And Shamrock Rovers, obviously, through to the next stage of the Europa League where they play a playoff against PAOK of Greece. And before we get on to them, we'll talk about their victories in the second legs of their ties. Obviously, Shamrock Rovers 3, Celje 1 after extra time. And this was a game where going into the game, after the game, Stephen Bradley made comments how the Celje boss, a former Liverpool player, Albert Riera, was pretty arrogant, let's say, going into it, and feeling that they're the better side and they should be winning the tie. I think even afterwards he said that they were the better side, etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is that they were knocked out of competition. Shamrock Rovers scored 3 goals, and one that was disallowed. Actually, Dara Burns was disallowed. It could have been 4, a mistake, and Rovers pounced on it, and he's probably just offside, but he did dispatch the ball to the net, and it was a very good win for Shamrock Rovers. Ultimately, penalty in 37 minutes went to VAR. Actually, I think the referee gave a free out for some reason. I don't know what the goalkeeper was doing, by the way. He just takes Aaron Green out of it. He comes out, probably shouldn't have really came out in that situation. Once he does, he just takes Green out of it, and they get a penalty, Shamrock Rovers, and Dylan Watts dispatches the penalty to give them a 1-0 lead on 37 minutes. And 4 minutes later, they were 2-0 up and flying and ahead in the tie. Farrugia with a brilliant strike in his left foot. After some good football, it was an absolutely brilliant strike by Neil Farrugia from outside the box, left foot, driven low and hard into the net. Almost made it 3-0. Trevor Clark, it was very good football. Watts was involved, Green was involved. I think Farrugia was involved as well, actually, at the final piece of it, and Clark forces a good save from the goalkeeper, which would have put them 3-0 up. Kanarczyk pulls one back in the second half after 83 minutes to make it 2-1 and force this tie into extra time. In extra time, Graham Burke is the winner on 96 minutes, where he drives to the defence. The keeper could have done better, it felt, but he drove at the defence, opened up and had a shot, and no better man to have a shot when it's on than Graham Burke. And he gets his reward, and Shamrock Rovers get their reward and go through. Brilliant result, brilliant performance. And, that's 5 wins, by the way, overall so far for Irish clubs in Europe in terms of the ties this season. We've had 5 ties where clubs have gone through. It's not bad. Higher ranking sides, higher ranking leagues like the Slovenian league, like later on we'll get on to with the Azerbaijani league, for example, too. So fantastic stuff for Shamrock Rovers, and the performances in Europe are much better than the performances in Europe last season. Something that'll delight, I think, Stephen Bradley. Now to go up against PAOK, knowing that they have the safety net of being in the Europa Conference League. The interesting thing about this is if they go into the Conference League, they've 6 games, but if they go into the Europa League, they've 8 games. Now, to be against better opposition, hypothetically, overall, you would say they would be, but that's an interesting factor to take into account. Question for Shamrock Rovers fans, genuinely, do you rather they actually qualified for Europa League, or would you rather they were in the Conference League? That'd be an interesting one. Obviously, as a player, you probably want to play against the best players, but, have they a better chance of getting good results in the Conference League? I don't know. That's something for Shamrock Rovers fans maybe to answer, but fantastic to see them going through. And I think over the course of the 2 legs, they actually deserved it as well. But on to the PAOK game, and PAOK are the Greek champions. They've got some interesting players in their lineup, the likes of Shalov, who's a Russian international, Bob Rackman, who used to play for Chelsea a few years back, and a number of other good players too. Only a couple of years ago, during the COVID season, they did play Bohemians and lost 2-1 at the Aviva against Bows, and beat Bows 2-0 in the second leg in Greece. And Bows actually missed a great chance late on to make it 2-1. So they form, if you like, a playing League of Ireland sides quite recently, And that's some confidence maybe Rovers can take in going into the tie. I do think PAOK are a better side now than they were then, though. Very impressive in the Greek league last year, winning it reasonably comfortably as well. Um, you think of the likes of Olympiacos, who've been in a lot of Champions Leagues, group stages in the last number of years, are in that league. So I do think, whereas I think Rovers have an opportunity, potentially, I do think PAOK are a better side than they were a couple of years ago. Um, my prediction for the game over in Greece, I hope I'm wrong. Now, it wouldn't knock them out of the tie, but I think PAOK might beat them 2-0. If they can get a better result, great. Um, they went to Celje in the first leg, who aren't as good as PAOK in my opinion, lost 1-0, but kind of got away with losing 1-0 in the first leg. So they need to perform better uh, in Greece, obviously. We don't know what the weather will be like. Well, we've a good idea what the weather will be like over there as well, so that's a factor too. The pitch will be better condition than it was over in Slovenia, though. But yeah, I'll go 2-0 PAOK in the first leg. Hopefully, they can get a better result than that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give us a few predictions. Shamrock Rovers fans and thoughts on the Celje game and performance. Like obviously, St. Pat won the first leg at Tal Stadium by that goal to nil in the Conference League, where they were absolutely dominant in that. And I've talked about that in the previous European show, how good the performance was. But there was a little doubt going into the second leg in terms of, because they were so good and probably should have had another few goals going over there, will they regret that? It's difficult because you never know. You're going to Azerbaijan, second leg's going to be warmer, good chance they're going to be better. And, they had most of the ball for the game. And I think before I talked about the red card in 27 minutes, which was a massive factor, but at the same time it was 0-0 up to that point, they didn't really cause Pats an awful lot of problems despite having a lot of the ball, which was a good thing. The send off is a sending off. Palmer's through in goal. He wins the ball well. He's through in goal. There's a decent chance he scores. So it is a red card. So if you think about it in that manner, maybe Pats go 1-up in that situation. Who knows? But he's definitely going to be 1-on-1 with the keeper. So it's a red card. But at the same time, it's a big blow for Sabah at that point. And you're thinking Pats could be in a decent position here. Again, they still had a lot of the ball, put Pats under pressure, but there wasn't too many chances they created. Pat scored a very good goal in my view anyway, 3 minutes second half through Zach Elbazetti, who's really settled in, by the way, since he's joined. I thought to myself, you might see the best of him till next season, because I think a lot of times when players come in this window, fitness levels can be low and that kind of thing, and you don't see them really kick on, if they're going to kick on, until the following season. But he started well. But it was a very good passing move, patience, a good guile from Pats in the move. It was 10 or 12 passes. Ended up to Mulroney on the wing, who crossed it in, and Elbazetti does well to head it home. And Jake Mulroney has been a player that's been had a renaissance under Kenny, to be honest. I think that's because of the style of football. I think previously he was asked to do too much work in the fence, and when he was picking up the ball, he was too deep. You want the likes of Mulroney in attacking areas where they can really impact the game in that final third, and all their energy needs to be used in that area of the pitch, and that's helped him, I think, and that's why he's really performing. He obviously has the talent, but that's why he's really performing under Kenny. And there's a brilliant goal from a Pat's point of view, and once that goes in and they're down to 10 men, they have a lot to do. They score 2 goals to get to extra time, and you felt quite comfortable that Pats would do it. A few moments where Sabah had 1 or 2 opportunities, but nothing to write home about. Pats defended very well too. Shout out to Tom Gravosti as well, who was out for a long time, over a year with an injury. He's come back in and he's settled in very well, and not easy that, and he's really performed very well. So shout out to him as well. On to the playoff round of the Conference League, where Pats will play in the first leg at Talis Stadium once again against Istanbul Basaksehir. Hope I pronounced that well. And they'll be moving up a level here, to be honest. The Turkish side, who are used to playing Galatasaray, Fenerbahce and all these clubs, finished 4th in the league last year. Started the league season quite well too. They recently had a 4-2 win in the league against Alanyaspor, I'm going to go for. But in the last round, they beat Iberia. They won 1-0 away and they won 2-0 at home. And they've got some good players in the ranks. The likes of Piatek, the Polish international, who's scored 12 international goals for Poland. He's 29 years old. He played for AC Milan, for example. He was a very, very good player. He scored 17 goals for Basaksehir in his career. He's only played for a season, so up to this point, look, they've got threats all over the pitch. They've got a lot of players, a lot of experience in their squad, I would say, as well. Just looking at them there, a lot of experienced players in their squad. That seems to be the case all over Turkey, by the way, generally. But what's a good result for Pats in the first leg, to be fair? You kind of say to yourself, like, hypothetically, if Pats were to lose this 1-0 in Tala, it's not a bad result. But it makes it near impossible to go through, if I'm honest, doesn't it? If you think about it. If they lose 1-0 at home, just throw it out there, for example. Can they go to Turkey and overturn it? I don't think so. I think if Pats are going to go through, we're talking about if they're going to go through, they need to take a lead to Turkey. And a narrow lead may not even be enough, but they need to take a lead to Turkey. That's going to be very difficult for me. Extremely difficult. You're moving up a level, and that's what you expect at this stage of the competition. Now, you're hoping that they underestimate Pats and take Pats lightly. Something that Stephen Bradley spoke about with some of the Shamrock Rovers games. And he spoke about how Prague treated them with a lot of respect. If that happens, then it'll be very difficult for Pats. But, they're just going to have to, I think, keep it tight 10-15 minutes for sure and see if they can work their way into the game and maybe grow in confidence if they're going to win the game. It's going to be very difficult. They've got threats up front. They've got threats out wide. They look at this draw and they'll think to themselves, from their point of view, they'll think that's a good draw for us. It's a difficult one for Pats because they lose even 2-0 at home or something like that. It almost renders the second leg redundant in many ways. We don't want that to happen. But it is a difficult tie. It is a difficult tie. But Pats, in many ways, should think to themselves, look, let's go out and enjoy this. We've nothing to lose. We'll go with a game plan, obviously. But all the pressure's on them. If Pats can perform the way they did in the two legs against Sabah, I still think they could ask some questions of Basaksehir. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go for 1-0 to the Istanbul side, but hopefully Pats can do better than that. And look, 1-0 defeat isn't a bad result by any means. They're a very, very good side. Their squad's worth about 40 million or something like that too. So look, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're a Shamrock Rovers fan, a Pats fan, what do you think from a Pats point of view there as well? How impressed were you with their win against Sabah over there? And by the way, shout out to the Pats fans who travelled over to the match. Unbelievable stuff. I think there was 12 of them, but honestly, unreal. It's a long trip. It costs a lot of money. Might be difficult to get time off work, all that kind of stuff. So fair play to them. That was brilliant. But let me know once again what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed before. And once again, thanks for watching. Good night.